You study for physics, you prepare, you tell yourself you're ready, and then the exam starts. The heart rate goes up, your mind speeds up, and suddenly nothing feels clear. That breakdown is not random, and it's not nerves, it's training. I'm the physics sensei, PhD in physics, black belt in karate, and 30 years teaching college students just like you. My job is simple to train you the right way so exams stop feeling unpredictable and start feeling familiar. Today, I'm going to show you why physics collapses under pressure and how to train so it holds when it matters. If nothing changes, you already know the pattern. Last minute studying, panic on test day, missed points that you should have gotten. So here's the truth. Physics exams don't test calm, they test structure under stress. Most students never train that. So in this video, we're going to break down 5 execution failures that cause physics to collapse on exams. And more importantly, how to fix them. Let's start with the habit that destroys performance before the exam even begins: cramming. It feels intense, but it doesn't build stability. Here's what's actually happening. Last minute studying feels intense, but intensity is not training. Physics performance depends on timing. Decisions must be automatic. Recognition must be fast. You can build that in just one long session. Cramming loads information. It doesn't build access. You might remember formulas, you might remember examples, but under exam pressure, your brain can't retrieve them reliably. This is why last minute studying creates false confidence. Material feels fresh, everything seems familiar, but familiarity fades fast. And when it fades, nothing replaces it. Physics exams don't test freshness, they test stability. They ask, can you perform this when nothing feels obvious? Cramming never answers that question. Strong students prepare differently. They study in short sessions. They return to the same ideas repeatedly. They space their practice. This trains retrieval, not just recognition. Spacing feels slow. It feels inefficient, but it builds something cramming never does: reliable performance. And if you rely on last minute studying, you're betting everything on memory. And memory breaks under pressure, skill doesn't. If exams feel unpredictable, don't study harder at the end. Start earlier. Keep it small. Repeat it often. Here's how you train this. Today, study physics for 10 minutes. Stop when the timer ends. Do not continue. Then go for the next level. Pick one topic you are studying this week. Return to it for 5 minutes on 3 different days. Same topic, short visits. Finally, challenge yourself. For your next exam, follow this rule. We are not allowed to study physics for more than 30 minutes in one session during the finals week. All preparation must happen earlier in short sessions. That's how memory turns into stability. So now you've studied, but when the exam starts, your body reacts faster than your brain. That panic isn't emotional, it's technical. Here's what's actually happening. Panic is not emotional, it's technical. Your brain panics when it doesn't recognize a clear starting move. No starting move means no structure, and no structure means uncertainty, and uncertainty triggers panic. Most students think panic comes from pressure, but it doesn't. It comes from standing in front of a problem without the trained first action. If the first step isn't automatic, everything feels urgent. Your brain starts scanning, guessing, jumping. That chaos feels like panic. This is why panic shows up on exams, but not during homework. Homework gives you hints, examples, and known path. Exams remove the path. If you never train starting from nothing, Panic fills the gap. Strong students don't eliminate nerves, they eliminate uncertainty. They train one thing relentlessly, the first move. They know how to start even when the problem looks unfamiliar. That creates calm. Calm is not confidence, calm is clarity, and clarity comes from knowing what to do first. If you panic on exams, stop trying to relax. Train your starting move. Once the first step is clear, the rest slows down. Panic fades when structure appears. That's not psychology, that's training. Here's how you train this. Before starting any physics problem, write these at the top. First step, and then fill it in before doing anything else. Then do this. Practice this drill once per study session. Open a problem, write the first step, and then stop. Do not solve the problem yet. Then challenge yourself. For 1 week, train only starts. Do 5 problems per day, but only write the first step for each. No solving allowed. That's how panic turns into structure. After the exam, most students do the worst possible thing. They move on. That wastes the most valuable feedback you will ever get. Here's what's actually happening. An exam is the most honest feedback you ever get. It shows you exactly how you perform when nothing is guided. But most students never use it. They see the score, they feel relief or frustration, and they stop there. That turns the exam into a judgment, not a tool. A judgment doesn't improve performance. Every exam contains a full map of your weaknesses, not vague ones, specific ones, where you rush, where you guessed, where you set up fail, where your decisions broke down. That information is priceless. Studying during the semester is scattered. Different topics, different problems, different goals. An exam concentrates everything. It shows what actually failed under pressure. That is why one exam reviewed properly can change how you study for the rest of the semester. It tells you what skill didn't hold, what habit collapsed, what you need to retrain. Strong students don't fear exams, they mind them. They reopen the test. They trace each mistake back to a decision. They fix that decision at the source. They don't just study more, they study smarter. If you ignore exams, you repeat the same semester again and again. Different chapters, same mistakes. If you want real improvement, stop treating exams like verdicts. Treat them like performance data. That's how one exam can teach you more than weeks of unfocused studying. Here's how you train this. Take it easy first. Pick one exam question you missed. Write down the first wrong step you took. Just one. Then go for the next level. Rewrite that same problem and fix only the first wrong step. And stop there. Do not finish the problem. Then challenge yourself. Create an exam error list. Every mistake goes on it with one sentence. I lost points because I. Then you complete that. Study this list weekly. That's how exams become training tools. Even when students ask for help, they often ask questions that don't improve anything because the problem isn't missing information, it's missing decisions. Here's what's actually happening. Most students ask results questions instead of decision questions. They ask, what formula do I use? Is this right? Can you show me how to do this? Those questions skip the skill. Physics doesn't break down because you lack information. It breaks down because you don't know which decision failed. And if you don't identify the failed decision, the answer doesn't help. That's why help feels temporary. You see the solution, you nod, it makes sense, then the next problem looks different and everything disappears because the decision making was never fixed. Good questions sound different. They don't ask for answers, they ask for diagnosis. They sound like, what should I decide first here? Which assumption matters most? Where did my setup go wrong? Those questions expose the skill gap. Strong students don't ask more questions, they ask better ones. They arrive knowing where they got stuck, what choice they made, why it failed. That turns help into training. It helps never seems to stick. Don't blame the explanation. Look at these questions. If the question avoids responsibility for the decision, the learning disappears. Stop asking for answers. Start asking for choices. That shift changes how every explanation lands. So here's how you train these. Take it easy first. Before asking for help, write the sentence, I am stuck at the step where, then you complete that. Then go for the next level. When reviewing a problem, circle the step where you guessed instead of decided. That is the question you ask about. Then challenge yourself. For 1 week, you're not allowed to ask, what formula do I use? Every question must start with, what decision should I make here? That's how help starts working for you. Now, zoom out. Why do students start strong and then disappear? Because consistency is trained wrong. Here's what's actually happening. Consistency fails because students treat studying like a mood, not a system. When studying depends on how you feel, how busy you are, or how confident you feel that day, it collapses. Physics doesn't reward bursts of effort. It rewards repeated exposure, short reps, frequent reps, predictable reps. That's how skills stabilize. Most students aim too big. Long session, perfect focus, huge block of time. When that plan breaks once, everything stops. Consistency doesn't fail because the student is weak. It fails because the system is fragile. Strong students design boarding systems. Same time, same place, same small task. They don't negotiate with motivation. They remove the decision entirely. This is why consistency feels harder than it looks. It's not exciting, it's not dramatic, and it doesn't feel productive right away, but it compounds quietly. If your progress keeps resetting, stop restarting with enthusiasm. Lower the bar, shrink the session, protect the routine. Consistency survives when the system is simple enough to run on bad days. Physics doesn't require heroic effort, it requires steady training. Build something you can repeat even when life is messy. Here's how you train this. Take it easy first. Choose a fixed 10-minute time you can study physics every day. Same time, no exceptions. Then go for the next level. Create a simple rule, one problem per day. Even if that's all you do, the session counts. Then challenge yourself. For 2 weeks, track one thing only. Did you show up? Not how long, not how well, just yes or no. That's how consistency becomes automatic. All five breakdowns come from the same mistake. Students train physics for comfort, but exams demand performance under pressure. So you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. Train under structure, and pressure stops being a threat. Let's log this in. 1. Cramming builds memory, not stability. 2. Panic comes from missing first step. 3. Exams are feedback, not verdicts. 4. Better questions create better help. 5. Consistency fails without a system. Fix these, and physics stops collapsing under pressure. Exams don't require calm confidence, they require trained instructor. You don't need to feel ready, you need to be prepared the right way. Train the basics, build your foundation, let consistency become your advantage. And if you need more help, the dojo is ready when you are. I'll see you inside.